You're watching Northern Crimes.
If you've ever flown through Seattle, chances are you've seen Mount Rainier. A sentinel amidst the Pacific Northwest, this stratovolcano boasts a formidable 14,410 feet of height and a rich history dating back over 500,000 years. With over 236,000 acres of wilderness, the Mount Rainier National Park is an adventurer's paradise, offering 260 miles of maintained trails, but it's also a realm of veiled dangers and unsolved enigmas. For example, in the year 2020, a record number of searches, over 60 to be exact, took place in Mount Rainier National Park. Some involved inexperienced hikers, while others involved grizzled mountaineers. And then there were the ones involving foul play. Today, we'll cover 3 stories of people who went missing on or around Mount Rainier. Their stories are all different, but one thing makes them similar. No one knows exactly what happened to them or why. This is Northern Crimes. The towering presence of Mount Rainier stands as a beacon on the northwest edge of North America. Majestic yet menacing, the mountain presents both a formidable challenge and a dangerous lure to adventurers. Here, against the chilling backdrop of rock towers and lush pines, the tragic disappearance of Sam Dubal unfolded, a mystery that continues to baffle to this day. Sam Dubal was not an average man. He was a renowned scholar, an esteemed anthropologist, and a Harvard Medical School graduate. He had an innate penchant for embracing the complexities of life. He was a seasoned explorer, having braved journeys across the diverse landscapes of the U.S. and the towering peaks of the Himalaya. But in the fall of 2020, Sam ventured alone into the wilderness of Mount Rainier, setting out on what should have been a straightforward hike. Instead, it would be his last. On October 9th, Sam reportedly set out for an overnight trip, hiking the Mother Mountain Loop Trail out of the Owyhigh Lake trailhead. According to the Washington Trails Association, the trail is a popular route in the northwest corner of the park, climbing gradually through alpine meadows, wildflowers, creeks, and lakes with stunning views. According to family members, Sam was prepared and had gear for an overnight excursion, including a tent, sleeping bag, rain and snow gear, as well as a cell phone with a charger. The Mother Mountain Loop route is about 16 miles round trip with an elevation gain of 6,000 feet. The hike also requires a manageable river crossing. To an inexperienced hiker, well, this might seem daunting, but for Sam, it really shouldn't have been a big deal. Sam was expected to return on October 10th, but when the sun rose and set without a sign of him, his friends and family started to feel uneasy. And when he didn't show up for work on Monday, concern turned into action. On October 12th, a vast, meticulous search operation was mobilized, but the rescuers faced a monumental task. The topography surrounding the Mother Mountain Loop Trail is formidable, stretching from the precipitous heights of 6,000 feet all the way down to 2,000 feet in the shadowy forests. It's an intimidating expanse of dense woodlands, rugged mountainsides, serene alpine meadows, with numerous bodies of water. For 9 relentless days, the rescuers scoured the vast wilderness, hoping for a sign of Sam. On October 14, they'd stumbled on a solitary water bottle located about midway through the trail, which Sam's family believed was his. Yet this discovery only taunted the hint of his presence. Sam himself seemed to have vanished, swallowed by the mountains and the increasingly deteriorating weather. The weather, fickle and cruel, soon turned against the searchers. The skies darkened, and icy winds began to howl through the valleys. On the 10th day, the search was suspended. Sam Dubal, the intellectual and spirited adventurer, was now presumed dead. Yet his family clung to hope. On October 22nd, they launched a petition pleading for the search to continue. Perhaps under pressure, the Park Service consented, and the search resumed against ever-increasing odds. But by this time, the mountain had changed. Winter had come early that year, smothering the landscape in a blanket of white. The already treacherous terrain was now even more foreboding, and a crucial crossing on the Carbon River, possibly Sam's intended path, had been washed away by a relentless storm. The search for Sam was one of an unprecedented 60 conducted on or near Mount Rainier that year, a grim testament to the mountain's chilling allure. But despite the exhaustive efforts, Sam remains missing. His absence has left an indelible mark on the community and a gnawing question: what happened to Sam Dubal? Sam Dubal was 33 years old at the time of his disappearance. He's 5'9", weighs 155 pounds, and has black hair with a short black beard. Family members believe he was wearing a blue North Face jacket during his hike. Amid the grandeur of Mount Rainier National Park, a seasoned hiker embarked on what was to be her last journey. Karen Sykes, 70 years old and a veteran in the Northwest Americas hiking community, disappeared mysteriously in June 2014 near the Owyhigh Lakes. Her story continues to echo in the wilderness. A vibrant force in the hiking realm, Karen had woven stories of her escapades across western Washington for several online publications and newspapers. Her trail reports, photographs, and anecdotes were followed avidly on her blog, Karen's Trails. An author and a seasoned photographer, Karen's expertise extended beyond the trail, making her disappearance all the more confounding. On June 18, 2014, Karen, accompanied by her boyfriend Bob, ventured toward the Owyhigh Lakes Trail, intending to research for an upcoming story. According to Bob, after about 4 hours, they encountered snow. It's here that Karen pressed ahead, leaving Bob behind. She promised to return shortly, but those were the last words she spoke to him. Karen vanished, as though swallowed by the mountain she knew so well. Karen was adequately prepared, carrying survival gear that could last her an emergency overnight stay. She was a savvy hiker, a tough explorer familiar with Mount Rainier and the surrounding park. Quote, "She's the last person anyone would expect to get lost, particularly on Mount Rainier," said a former colleague of Karen. An intensive search operation involving 6 ground crews, 2 dog teams, and an aircraft was initiated, and after 3 arduous days, the search came to a chilling conclusion. A female body, later confirmed to be Karen's, was discovered near Boundary Creek, 1 ridge over from where she'd left Bob. The area was not well frequented, and the terrain is incredibly rugged and steep. This added an extra layer of complexity to her mysterious disappearance. When park rangers located Karen, she was in a sitting position, wrapped in an emergency blanket, with her feet in the water of Boundary Creek. Her backpack, fanny pack, and camera were never found. An autopsy reported no signs of trauma to her body and revealed hypothermia as the cause of death, with heart disease as a secondary factor. Temperatures during her disappearance had plummeted to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Her daughters and friends, however, insisted that Karen was in good health, adding a twist to the grim findings. How did Karen, an experienced hiker and a well-respected, quote, trail guru, lose her way on a trail she was so familiar with? Did the weather get to her? Or did she become disoriented and panic? Or was there something that spooked Karen, causing her to lose her footing and run? Her story, much like the trails she loved, remained shrouded in mystery, an enigma as captivating as the wildflower areas she'd once written about. In the stark landscape of Mount Rainier, the ghostly silence tells tales of those who dared to challenge its icy slopes. One such tale that is still whispered among the winds is that of Eric Lewis, a 57-year-old mountaineer from Duvall, Washington. In the summer of 2010, he embarked on a climb that would etch his name permanently in the annals of Mount Rainier's alluring history. On the windswept day of July 1st, 2010, Eric, along with his two companions, was ascending the Gibraltar Ledges route on Mount Rainier. Although challenging, the route isn't technical for a mountain climber and is considered to be the standard winter route on the mountain. Eric and his companions were roped together, with Eric being in the rear. Like most teams climbing Rainier, Eric and his partners were roped together to mainly protect from falls into glacier crevasses. The weather that day was windy, with low visibility. So windy, in fact, that the climbers had to shout to communicate, even though they were roped merely 50 feet apart. But amidst these conditions, the climbers pressed on, their hearts pounding in sync with the adrenaline rushing through their veins. At some point, the lead climber, Don Storm Jr., and the second, Trevor Lane, realized that something was amiss. Expecting to find Eric following closely behind, they were greeted with a chilling sight instead: an empty rope with a single butterfly knot, a mute testimony of a climber gone missing. In the white expanse below them, there was no sign of Eric, who was only moments ago a visible figure on the mountain. The climbing high camp at Camp Muir was informed, and a formidable rescue operation was launched. A team of experienced climbers scoured the Nisqually Icefall and the Gibraltar Chute areas, while a Chinook helicopter and a commercial helicopter hovered over the climbing zones. Yet Eric remained unfound. As the search expanded, climbers stumbled upon a baffling find. Eric's backpack, climbing harness, and snow shovel were located at 13,600 feet, and a tiny snow cave bore evidence of recent occupancy just 200 feet above. But Eric himself was nowhere to be seen. Incident Commander Glenn Kessler surmised the enormity of the situation, stating, quote, "The odds of finding the missing climber alive must be weighed against the risk to searchers operating in such hazardous conditions." A sense of grim resignation descended over the camp as the extensive search had to be scaled back. Yet the mystery of Eric's disappearance hung in the air, a puzzle that begged for answers. In the ensuing narrative recounted by Eric's partners, they were also baffled as to how he could have become separated from them. The most obvious theory is that Eric must have unclipped himself from the rope. But if Eric had separated himself from the group, why was there no footprints leading away? The snowy ground was an untouched canvas, showing no signs of divergent paths. The ice cave where his gear was discovered offered no additional clues. No sign of struggle, no hint of an accident, no traces of an encounter with the wilderness. Eric had seemingly vanished into thin air. A decade later, the mystery surrounding Eric Lewis's disappearance remains unsolved. Was it hypothermia that forced him to unclip from the rope in a haze of confusion and fear? Was it the prospect of a terrifying encounter, real or imagined, that led him to make such a decision? The silence of Mount Rainier keeps these secrets closely guarded, leaving us to speculate on the chilling circumstances of Eric Lewis's disappearance. In the wild, enigmatic expanse of Mount Rainier National Park, the mysteries of Sam Dubal, Karen Sykes, and Eric Lewis linger on, taunting the realms of understanding. Dubal, the esteemed scholar, Sykes, the seasoned hiker, and Lewis, the experienced mountaineer, all vanished under inexplicable circumstances, leaving no conclusive trace behind. These haunting tales, forever etched in the park's icy fabric, echo the chilling allure of nature, its treacherous beauty, and the cost of venturing into its unforgiving heart. As we tread deeper into the shadow of Mount Rainier, one question remains: who might be the next to disappear in this wilderness of mystery and uncertainty?